Hey guys, welcome to the Blue Collar Business Podcast, where we discuss the realest, rawest, most relevant stories and strategies behind building every corner of a blue collar business. I'm your host, Cy Kirby, and I want to help you. What it took me, trial and error, and a whole lot of money to learn. The information that no one in this industry is willing to share. Whether you're under that shade tree or have your hard hat on, let's expand your toolbox. Welcome back, guys. I appreciate you joining me for another episode of the Blue Collar Business Podcast. We are sponsored on this episode by the one and only Cyclone Excavation and Utilities. Shout out to them. We are looking for some more sponsors to help out with the show and the investment in the blue collar community. If that's something that maybe interests you, you have a product or a service or anything of an outreach you'd like, this be a great source to do that with. You can check us out at bluecollarbusinesspodcast.com for all that information. I am bringing you guys a little bit different episode today. A man that is truly special to me and my family. He's helped me. God, dude, don't even know where I'd be, honest to God. The conversations we've had over the years as businessmen, but also friends. We ended up not living far from each other. And he's always been there and always answers the phone, even if I'm in a fire. He's been great to me over the years. And he's got such a special story, and it needs to be shared. He is a crazy entrepreneur, just like I am. And I've learned some things from him for dang sure, especially in the truck market. And where I bought my first truck was from this gentleman, and I ended up probably buying double-digit trucks over the last 9 years. Service-bodied, not just going to a dealership, but Rusty Alexander is the CEO and President of Integrity Automotive, and you guys can find him out on integrityautomotive.com. You can see all the inventory on there, and he'll ship to you in the country. But I have bought probably 10 or 11 trucks, but that first truck I'll never forget for sure. And that's the kind of stories we're going to be sharing today. We're also going to be kind of talking about Rusty thank you for your service. He was a tried and true vet with the U.S. Navy. He was a submarine guy, and every time I see a sub, I think about him. And he has now obviously transitioned out of the Navy and into the entrepreneur world. We're going to be kind of talking a few on those stories, but he's also, last but not least, stick around because he's adding a venture this year and truly upfitting and outfitting trucks in various different formats. But even for a guy like me, hey, I need a service body. That's always been a thing, but we're going a few extra steps from what I understand. So, Rusty, furthermore, thank you so much for being here today.
Well, man, thanks for having me. This is awesome. You're right. We've known each other for many years. I don't even think how you wound up. It could have been your bank that sent you to me. I can't remember exactly.
No, it's honest to God. It was just driving by 71B. Mm-hmm. You were the work truck guy.
Yeah.
You were, the diesel guy, and not a lot of dealerships, especially back then, would even touch a diesel.
Very scary. They're for a dealer that doesn't have a lot of experience with diesels. They usually learn that lesson. It's an extreme risk.
And
as a dealer buying these trucks. So I mitigated that somewhat by choosing where I get the trucks from. And I think most work truck dealers around our geography, let's say from North Texas, Oklahoma City, Wichita, Kansas, over to Mississippi, and
fair enough.
That area, most of them don't acquire inventory the way I do.
Right.
And the reason why is it's an expensive pain in the butt, and it is. But what I do is I learned early on. I had to learn the lesson like everybody else. But we bought trucks that seemed to be a good buy. Mm-hmm. And we bought those from auctions throughout this region. Obviously, don't get too far away to move them. They get expensive. But in the very beginning, I bought some trucks that seemed like they were great deals. And we get them back. And by the time I get them up to my standards, mm-hmm. I've got too much in them. I mean, I'm not making anything.
No, I get it.
You know, and you got to make some money in business. Everybody knows that. And so we've focused on acquisition. You know, there's two areas you make money in the car business. It's when you buy, but it's really when you buy it is the most important.
Buy low, sell high.
Buy low. You know, and that way you've got plenty of room. Well, that's not what I do.
No, you don't.
No, I don't. So what we ended up doing is we end up purchasing almost all our inventory from leasing companies as they come off lease. Kind of learned that lesson early on. There may be some other work truck dealers listening to this. Maybe it's a lesson for them as well. But, you know, these trucks have been on a GPS. They've been fleet maintained. When they're leased, they are leased with maintenance included, and that maintenance is required.
Yep.
So they have to keep up with it. So when I buy the truck, it's not for any other reason other than the lease term is expired.
Yep.
And so I've got a little bit better product to begin with.
For sure.
So I don't buy oil field trucks and stuff, but there is a lot of that going on.
100%.
And I think overall, a lot of the areas, there's two different kinds of work truck dealers. Basically, the people that clean them up, get the check engine light off, and just sell it.
I think I've seen maybe three over the 9 or 10 years I've been doing this come in and leave. And you've still been staying the course.
Oh, yeah. You know, and there has been some big competitors that have dropped in the market. And, you know, I never really worry about it. I think that competition, and this is another thing for small businesses, competition, you know, high tide raises all ships. So, you know, it's important. And there was one of them that was actually going to go in right across the street from me. And
God bless.
yeah,
Really?
Yeah. Right down in Lowell, but just less, I could throw a rock and hit them.
Yeah.
And they were going to open up there, and thankfully the city didn't permit that. And so they had to move to Rogers. But anyway, they were trying to open up. They were big dogs. They were going to bring in a bunch of inventory, and they opened up in towards the end of October, and by the end of December they were closed.
Yeah.
So it's a dangerous world. That's why not, you know, if it was easy, we'd have little girls doing it all over. You know, it's not easy. And you know, but from the acquisition perspective, I think that's a critical component, is buying the truck right for resale.
100%.
Buying that truck right to begin with, with your customer in mind. Right.
That's where I was going to make sure you mentioned that, because I've watched you definitely not make as much money as you could have over the years.
I just did it
many times.
20 minutes before this podcast. You know, I got a repeat customer who lives way up in Iowa line, and he drove all the way down here to buy a truck from me again. He also has a show on Discovery Channel.
Really?
And he does guided hunts, and he would not buy a truck from anybody else. Let me just tell you. But I'm not saying that to be braggadocious.
No, 100%.
I'm just saying that
you've built a great clientele over the years.
Well, that, and people are sick of getting screwed around.
You bet.
I'm
one of them.
I was a car dealer for, you know, I worked for a big store and I was a general manager of new car stores for 20 plus years. And, you know, I've been in that world. I understand it. When I opened Integrity Automotive, I wanted to be completely different from every aspect.
Yeah.
And I think I've accomplished that.
Agreed.
You know, I mean, there are some things I'd like to change, but overall, we're just trying to take care of the customer, and we put the customer first. And I think that's the service industry, right?
Right.
I mean, it's getting harder and harder to find any business that puts customer service first.
Or service in general.
Just taking care
of the customer.
The responsibility of the deal. I mean, there's just, it's insane.
Well, the truck world, the equipment world, like,
yeah,
just service after the sale. Yeah. And I'm striving to be different. We both are in that regard. But no, you said something just a minute ago that absolutely resonated with me, and it's high tides raise all ships.
Yeah.
You have the veteran-owned background,
Yeah.
and it's right there on your store, and it has been the entire time. And had another gentleman there was a veteran for a long time as well. And
Everybody that works in the front end of the store, and this is important, and this may not be the best thing to say, but
go ahead.
Everybody on the front end of the store, customer facing, is a United States veteran of some sort.
That's so awesome.
Okay. And why? I like working with them because I'm one. That's really the only reason. I think that they've gone through enough in their life to be the kind of person that I need them to be. And then I've had really good luck with that. And we've worked with, I've had several that really are fully disabled, that have PTSD, that can't really function in society very well, and we have given them new life.
Yep.
And that's important to me, and so that's why I keep doing it. Everybody in the back, everybody in the shop, is a felons.
That's
every one of them. And believe me, that side of it's not, I'm not saying it's a ministry necessarily.
Nope.
I'm always
100%.
trying to help people, and whether it be my customers or my employees. And, both of them, both segments, veterans and felons, I've had my opportunities. There's been people I've had to part ways with or whatever. But overall, I have a really good crew that cares about what they care about. The customer. It's everybody's customer. We all jump in.
They care about the core values of integrity.
They do.
Not just Integrity Automotive,
right?
But integrity in general. And it's hard to find. And man, truly, that's something special to say. So, like, literally, I've given many felons a chance over the years. Sometimes now.
Sometimes it works out. Sometimes it doesn't.
Sometimes it doesn't.
But you keep trying to help.
Isn't it funny, though, how we always, and I think that's why we connect so well, we're always trying to give. Yep. Always trying to give while we're getting taken.
Yeah,
entrepreneurship.
That's on them, though. We have to continue to do what we can. And so, am I a car dealer? More like a broker maybe or something, in the sense that I try to help businesses, if they need my help, make the right purchases, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And not mess up and buy the wrong truck. Most dealers will just take their money and say, "Well, let them figure it out."
That's right.
I'll talk people out of buying stuff probably as much as I talk them into buying it, right? I really don't talk people into buying stuff, that.
Yes, I do.
It's just like, hey, here it is.
It's a good one, or
let's not, or maybe it's, Si, tell me your needs. Do you see this need staying permanent, or do you see it, maybe this truck's purpose may be doing something else 2 years from now, but today it needs to do this job, and we try to figure out from an investment standpoint, which buying a vehicle, by the way, is never a good investment. All right, I'm not going to tell you it is. From the investment standpoint, it is not. But it's a tool. Like, you don't have any problem going and dropping $1,000 on some tools that
get them.
You got to get them.
Yep.
And
you got to get there too, though.
The tool. It's a tool. And if you think any more about it than that, you're not doing it right, in my opinion. It's a tool at the end of the day. It's Chevy, Dodge, Ford, doesn't matter.
No.
They all have their issues. And for everybody that says, you'll never catch me in a Ford, there's a guy that says, I won't drive anything else but a Ford.
That's right. I was that guy for a minute.
I mean, how many miles on your F-250 now?
Oh, it's over 200. I literally I think I bought that 250, man. And this is funny. This is like, there's got to be some blue collar fellers relate to this, because when I was stepping up in the world. By God, I came down and bought
New body style.
XL rubber floor mat,
Yeah.
250, and by God, I was big dog.
Yeah.
But I think it only had like 50 or 60K on it.
Yeah.
And now, literally, you remember the little half ton that we made in the testing truck, and it got wrecked 3 times and totaled. It was a nightmare. But anyways, it just dropped its second transmission and carried a little too much weight around. And so I ended up giving the 250 over to Sam, and Sam's driving it for the dirt crew as of right now. But
It's still kicking.
before we get too far into truck talk, man, if you walk into your office and we were speaking on, you're a veteran, and how was the transition, and maybe some vets that are sitting here thinking about maybe starting their own business. And I know we're going a little further off the rails here, but seriously trying to maybe do this thing, and they're coming out of the Navy or they're coming out of the Army, and you only, as a veteran,
Or possibly
know what
they're young and they're trying to find some direction in their life.
100%.
And right now they're running an excavator, and they're like, is this just my future?
40 years of this?
It might be.
Yep.
But, and there's nothing wrong with that because I come from that background too. And I've got a lot of my kin that are equipment operators, crane operators, bulldozers, all that stuff. And I'm no stranger to it myself. But I think that the Navy, I had a unique experience. I was on a fast attack submarine, and I was a torpedoman, which is an old name for some pretty modern stuff, right? They just didn't change the name.
Okay.
Torpedoes, we dealt with torpedoes, and they're quite advanced. But I was a Tomahawk cruise missile technician, and I worked on Harpoon anti-ship missiles and the launching systems and, electric, hydraulic, high-pressure air interfaces and stuff like that. So the amount of knowledge that I gathered from that has absolutely been instrumental in what I do now. And I think it's just a mechanical understanding.
The diagnosis side of it.
The diag stuff, or
problem solving in general, maybe?
Yeah. So on a submarine, we don't have the luxury of like calling maintenance or something, right?
No.
So we've got to figure out a way to fix whatever's wrong with what we have. And if we don't, we'll probably all die.
Oh my God.
So it's kind of serious. And so, we are very resourceful.
You would have to.
Yeah. And I think that has also helped quite a bit. Just not accepting no for an answer, staying persistent in procurement of the right stuff has been critical. So we understand, hey, we've got to have the right tool for the job. If we don't, we still have to get the job done. So,
Give me the screwdriver.
We have to do it.
Yeah.
And so anyway, that experience was invaluable.
To life.
For anybody, I was going there basically for anybody that's considering going in, you're going to come out a better person. You're going to understand where your strengths and weaknesses are, and you're going to have patience beyond what you have now. And those are things that I can't just go, boop, you have it. You've got to develop that.
Mm-hmm.
And how to work with people is a big deal.
Yep.
And
all kinds of people too.
There were some downsides. For me, there's no gray in my life. It's either black or white. I've got to, it's either right or wrong, and so that civilians don't have that as much. They can, so, but for the determination, the fortitude, the drive to get up and do it every day. I'll confess, in the last week, there's been 2 times that I didn't even want to get up.
You bet.
And so, but you know what, I did, and I got up and did it again. I think that fight, I was born with it, obviously, but the mechanics of actually going through that, I think the military imprinted that on me. Like, I don't care what you want to do.
Yeah.
You're getting your butt out of bed and you're going.
You have to.
Yeah. I don't feel good today. doesn't matter.
Yep.
Like there's people that count on you. And small business, we've had this discussion. We might want to throw our hands up and or go to the beach for a week or whatever, but we can't. The reason we can't is we've got a lot of families that depend on us every day.
Every single
minute. So that's, what motivates me to get up. But I think the military gave me that fight,
I think
I'm not stoppable. I'm so tenacious. I can't, I have a saying that Louis Pasteur actually said, and it's on my phone, but it goes something like, I'm paraphrasing,
Go ahead.
Something like, my success completely lies in my tenacity.
Perseverance.
So I've had to overcome, and that's why I'm successful.
100%.
Because I didn't go to college, man. I didn't go to college. I don't have an MBA in business. I don't have any of that. And it's
funny, the amounts that we work with, we should.
Yeah. I mean, I handle millions of dollars, and it's just like, it's weird, right?
It's very imposter syndrome-y.
I help other people, and it's amazing how many companies, big companies that are being run around here, not just here, anywhere really. And these people really just don't have a good, solid understanding of their employees, which is really critical. So how do you lead people if you don't understand people?
That's right.
And so, that's a big factor in today's corporate environment, right?
100%, dude. I just went through it myself. I had a project manager, and I thought I had everything figured out, and I was the big man, and I fell out of tune with my people, and I had so many. You knew what I was going through.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I was the highest employee count, but I failed as a leader, and I had to, not that I wasn't concentrating on things that needed concentrated on, and
it was mud on your boots again.
You bet. And I needed to, and I lost touch with my people, and I've swore to myself, I've swore to everything. I won't do that ever again. I will not, because I know the alternative. And now in 6-8 months turns around, and it's like the best morale vibe I've ever had, and we're jiving, and it shows in production and sales and everything. But I got to go back for just a minute when you just said, being a vet in any sort, you don't take no for an answer on your day-to-day job, because you got lives dependent on it. And I think that transfers over to entrepreneurship, because I literally made a video the other day on our socials, basically just going through all the things of this year and the doubts and the hate and everything that I've experienced this year, but not taking no for an answer. I've experienced thousands of no's at this point, it feels like, and it's a day-to-day thing, but it's, okay, why did he say no? Oh, he's probably right in some regard in telling me no, but I need the answer to be yes, so how do I get there?
Or at bare minimum, I want to understand why and how he made that decision.
That's right, so I can move forward.
But is there something you're not considering? And there's something in this situation, maybe he hasn't come with everything, but at the end of the day, how did that guy running his company make that decision when that's not a decision I would make?
That's right.
And sometimes you can learn, the definition of wisdom to me is not having to you can learn from other people's mistakes. You don't actually have to do them yourself. You don't have to do that.
That's right.
You don't have to fail. You can watch this guy do it and learn what he did wrong. And that brings me back to Integrity Automotive. That's why I do it the things the way I do, is I saw so many other businesses just, going down. And I'm like, why? Well, the reason why is in our area,
product and service?
That's exactly what it is. But it's like what the consumers demand. So in our area, they demand a work-ready truck. I hand you the keys to the truck. You go hook it to a trailer and go to work. That's not how work trucks are sold in certain other areas throughout the U.S. It's like, I just bought a work truck. It's already scheduled with my mechanic. He's going to go through the front end and put brakes on it and do all that. So the amount of money that guy had in the truck that he sold that guy is a lot less.
That's right.
Than what I have in it when I sell mine. Mine's work ready. Depends on the customer. Hey, I want to spend the money and have it work ready. Okay. You know, and it's not.
Or put a new bed on it.
Or put a new bed on it.
That's right.
Do whatever you need. Tommy gate on it. You need a ladder rack. You need a material handler. You need utility body. Whatever you need, we can do. And because at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is give you the right tool for the right money.
That's always the hardest part.
That is a hard part.
Especially before I move to my next point, but make sure you guys, if you're loving this conversation, make sure we're checking out bluecollarbusinesspodcast.com for me. Give it a watch, give it a listen. If you're listening on a streaming platform, make sure and give us a rating and a follow here at the end of this episode. But I've been excited to get to this part of the episode because there's been so many conversations as a blue-collar business owner sitting on this side of the table that I have ended up at your desk on a random Tuesday thinking, all right, I'm going to go charge this up and I need this truck and I'm going to go do this, and resting going, well,
Yeah.
you know, I had so-and-so in here the other day, and that's not quite what they're doing. And you'll make me think about things. And I can't tell you how many times you made me think about things and literally talk me out of a truck. But literally, I want you to share some stories because I'll share my first truck story. I'll be flat and honest with you guys. I went into business with the wrong guy. And you probably don't even remember this, but I bought the truck and he bought the machine and trailer. And this was prior to Sycon, and basically me and Sarah sold our house and moved into a camper.
Irony.
And I told her we were going to do this thing, and I said I need to go buy a truck, and she had all the faith and support. I mean, still does to this day. I wouldn't be anywhere without her. But
that's true.
No, 100%. Shout out.
I know her too.
So I tell my wife, living in a camper on my in-laws' land, trying to get pregnant with our firstborn, hey, I'm going to go start this business and just set our life up. I've got it all figured out. So I come and sit down with you, and I'm like, this is what I need. He's like, well, you say you do, but are you sure you need that? I'm like, yeah, man, got to have that 6-speed Dodge, man. The Cummins for life. And it was a 2011 Dodge 1-ton, and it hauled way too much weight. Just
way
like
too often.
Every single day of its life. Yeah. Had 3 or 4 transmissions through it. Clutches beyond belief. Put many a guy in it to go to work, and it helped build this company. And then I came back to you for truck number 2, and then truck number 3. And man, I can't tell you, sitting there, it's taking me back here, just sitting there, because I can remember the shape of the desk, the way your office sat, and I'm like, am I really signing? Am I really doing this? And then I met my first banker lady back when I still bank there, but just with a different lady. She obviously doesn't work there anymore. And you were like, go see her, tell her I sent you. And I've got my trucks are priced enough that you can head to the stinking bank and you can get, majority of it.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, this guy's freaking lying to me. He's got to be. And I had a buddy that sent me to you, and I trusted my
car
buddy.
dealers.
Exactly. And that's
lying,
and I'm being
thieving,
honest.
yeah.
Exactly. And so I'm sitting here going, oh, well, let's go see her, I guess. I mean, I get up there and she sings your freaking praises and all, not only from the money side of it, but all the guys that you're putting work trucks in their first truck. And I was sitting there, and I signed those papers with her, and I came back down, and I got in that truck, and you're like, go drive it and make sure it's the one you want. And there was like 62 miles still empty.
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't even notice. I was just going around.
Put fuel in this.
And so I pull up to the diesel pump, and I'm like, all right, I was 22 years old. I'm like, I'll throw $40 in there. It's just 2 $20 bills. And 10 years ago, anyways, but
a quarter of a tank of fuel.
And I got a quarter of a tank, and I'm like, right then at that gas pump, at that diesel pump, I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I ain't got the money to put freaking fuel in this truck. Insurance, I found out, was sky high.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, and I just thought I doubted, and I doubted. And well, then my first my first go around, I don't think I've ever shared this on this show, but the first go around I dumped my house equity in and didn't see a paycheck for 12 weeks, and I didn't see the bank account, and I just took the machine back to the gentleman and drove out of his driveway. And I knew I was going to go start my own thing, and with absolutely not a red cent to my name, didn't even have $10 to put in a fuel tank to get home to the camper I was living in. Come on. And I knew from there that the tenacity and that perseverance just started. And that was, I had bought that truck from you, but I just want to finish my story. We were trying to get pregnant with Colt. I had started Sycon after being separating ways with that gentleman, being as nice as possible here. And
I know the situation.
oh my God. So then Monday, I start out, I've got these rental machines and I'm going to work. By God, I feel like happy as a camper, made a little money that week. And that Wednesday, Sarah looked at me and she goes, I'm pregnant. And I said, I couldn't say anything. I was speechless. We'd been trying for 3.5 years. That was our plan before this business venture. And I'm like, I still, to this day, I deal with a lot of pressure nowadays. There's no doubt about it. That moment was the moment in my life. Yeah. That was the ka-choo. Yeah. You got to, I mean, you got to
look pressure up in the dictionary.
That was it.
That was a picture of you standing
there.
That
was it, dude. Yeah. I had sold my house. I convinced her to sell her house because the market, I think I bought that house in the middle of Pea Ridge for like 80 grand, 79 grand, something like that. And I could get $100,000 for it. And I was like, oh my God, we're going to make $25,000. And I cashed out. The house is worth a lot more.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, so I'd convinced my wife, go buy this truck that we couldn't afford. And now I'm going to go start piling up in rental debt and everything else. So Rusty was monumental. He didn't just sign them papers and go, here you go, dingle nuts. Go freaking spend your money. You sat there, but share some stories.
So for me, I mean, you do this and you're gonna meet a lot of blue collar, just
every trade.
Yeah. And so from doing it as long as I have, I think I've got a handle on it.
You got a pretty good understanding.
I do. And it's your story isn't that unique. It's really not. There's the people that do this kind of stuff aren't right in the head, man.
No, we're not.
Not. And I'm here with you. We're just crazy people, and we take risk that should not be taken.
It's not for the weak-minded, man.
It's not. It's not for the faint of heart. And I see people all the time, whether I'm a master electrician. And I've been working for this guy, making him money hand over fist for all this time. I mean, I'm sick of it. I can bill $200 an hour or whatever, and that's what I'm going to do. And maybe I've got a client or something that I've done a lot of work for that's maybe giving me a little stepping stone. But overall, I'm taking a big leap. I'm coming out of my company truck. My wife is looking at me like I'm crazy. I've got 2 kids. But I am convinced this is what I need to do. And sometimes they're right.
They're not.
Or they're not. And the reason why is people think because I'm a good electrician, then, and I'm well liked in the community and people know me as an electrician and I'm a great master electrician, blah, 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 or a plumber or whatever you want to say. That they can just go start a business. Running a business, it's like I'm talking to you about work trucks. I'm not talking to you too much about selling them, right?
Right.
The reason why is that's not the hard part.
No,
it's
sir.
the rest of the business that's difficult. And my ability to sell a car or not sell a car doesn't have anything to do with the business side of it. So a lot of trades.
It's not.
I will say it's more popular failure is more popular in the plumbing trade for some reason.
Okay.
These guys,
that's good news for you
these
fellas
guys
out
like
there.
to go out on their own, and they don't realize, they're carrying around in that company provided van. They're carrying around about $25,000 worth of supplies that they need day one.
Yep. Oh, and that fuel card, and the
that
insurance,
oh
and
my
the oil
word.
changes, and the tires, and the service, and the alternator, and the batteries, and you don't even think what goes into that truck.
You don't care. Yeah, I mean, you don't even think about it. And
you don't care. You're right. At that moment, you don't. You're not even thinking straight.
Right. So two reasons for failure. There's only two. Either don't know or you don't care.
That's right.
It comes down to that.
Yeah.
The reason this podcast is here and somebody's watching it right now is because they don't have the DK part. They don't have the don't know part.
That's right.
They need to know more about whatever they're doing, and they're being smart by researching, and listening to a lot of people that are boots on the ground.
You bet.
But no, story-wise, man, I've got a ton of them. I mean, they're almost daily. So I've got people that come to me because why? Because I'm a good guy. They don't even really know me yet. So they're coming to me because I have a tool that is cheaper than somebody else's tool. That's really...
Talk about it.
That's really it. So they show up and they say, hey, I saw online, it's a truck. Now I have an opportunity to consult and help them, guide them, not based on my experience. Remember back to wisdom, what I was saying. The difference, wisdom is when you can learn from somebody else's mistake and you don't actually have to commit it yourself. So I try to impart to my customers that just say, hey, man, I'm not sure, I'd buy a 1-ton dually to plumb out of unless I know you want one, but what I try to do, and the other part, it actually happens pretty easy because all I carry is Oxford white trucks.
That's right, baby.
With base interiors and power locks, windows, tilt cruise, right? That's it. Backup camera, maybe.
Hey.
Right? Hey, this one's got a backup camera.
Right.
But so there's no emotion involved. Now, take your wife to the Acura store, and I'll tell you what emotion is, right? So this is an emotional purchase. This is I'm trying, and I got to get them unplugged from their emotions. I really like the way that one looks, right? Look, man, this truck here fits your budget, and it's going to do the job you need to do. I'll take your money on either one, but you're going to know what you're doing before we ink anything.
And I'm just going to jump in real quick, man, because this is the whole purpose of this show, and the whole design and the investment that I'm putting into the community is that you're talking about gentlemen that are masters of their craft, that they don't even have to think about what they do every day, making $35 or $25 or $40 an hour or whatever they've pinnacled at. But it takes three things to be successful at business in the blue collar world, from my experience. You got to be a master of your craft. You got to be a businessman, and you got to be a leader.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, Rusty, moments of my life where I was a crappy businessman, was trying to be the best leader I knew how to be, and I've got the craft thing figured out. Now, I'm not saying I can't learn, and I learn every single day, and my team pushes me. I'm not trying to be that way, but I can do things on a machine that most can't.
Right.
And I did it at your house.
You did?
Yeah. You were like, you did what now? Anyways, but I wanted to hit to you guys that are listening here going, well, dude, a 1-ton's my dream, and I'm opening my business. I did the same freaking thing.
Yeah.
I promise you. Yes, I did need a 1-ton. I didn't need a 6-speed. I could have went a different route, and I could have done a little less money truck starting out. And honestly, that Dodge paid for itself in 100 different times.
But if you would have bought that truck, and I remember the conversation I'm sure I had with you, right? Don't buy a 6-speed manual on a startup truck. Why is that? Because you're going to pass that truck to somebody. Well, no, I don't even know if I need it. Listen, you're going to pass it on to somebody else, and they won't be able to drive the truck, or they'll rear end somebody or back into somebody or whatever on a hill, and just don't do it. Well, transmissions, I understand. Just save up for transmissions. I'm saying it's a tool. You've got, And so that's really where people make mistakes. If they'll listen to me a little bit, then at least I can plant the seed. Hey, man, you're making an emotional purchase here. You're not making a logical purchase.
I'm assuming that's probably rubbed a few people wrong
It
as
has.
well over the years.
It has, but they come back for truck 2, and they're like, I should have listened to you.
Yeah, that's
man.
right.
This truck's good. We use it, but we can't really use it for what we need.
That's right.
So I know if you're an excavation company, if you're a plumbing company, if you're a concrete company, if you're a framing company, if you're a roofing company, if you're whatever you are, plumbing, electrical, pick a trade. Underground utilities, I know all about that, right? So I've got, like you and 30 other underground utility customers. So I have a good idea of how much your machines weigh, what you're going to do. Oh, you got to pull it up out of a ditch. You've got to try this. And they don't even think about that stuff.
Because they haven't had the experience.
They haven't had the experience yet, and so I remember sold a company, the guy really well, actually. Does under like water lines and stuff. And I wish he was here. He'd be a good guy, because he had a really successful utilities company. And he went to branch out. He decided, because they were doing a lot of pours and they were waiting on people to come pour the manholes and stuff, the boxes. And he got frustrated and realized that there was a lot of need for this in the area. So he started a concrete company. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
Good guy.
Great guy.
And, he's gone now, pretty much. But I do remember when I was trying to keep him focused on his water company, and when he said concrete, we sold him some trucks from his concrete company. And, we sat and talked about it. But I remember one case where he come in, and I'm sure he needs a utility truck. It needs to be a 1-ton. It needs to be a diesel. I had one sitting there that had a crane on it. And he was like, I don't have any need for a crane. I don't want a crane, right? Long story short, the next 3 trucks he bought had cranes on them.
That's right.
I said, yes, you do. Why is that? You're sending 2 guys out to move a valve, to pull something, to do whatever. You send a good tech out, 1.
That's right.
The labor that you're going to save doing this job is substantial, and it will compound over time. And he called me about a year later and goes, you couldn't have been
more
right.
That truck was actually on
I saw it.
Every single
job.
Any job that I
Duramax.
water line popped and tapped, it was there. And for a lot of years. And anyhow, he's still going. He's just not quite in the area anymore.
No, he used to be huge.
Yeah, oh yeah.
He's down now where so again, for you guys listening, he's spread out so fast, and he had to have like 4 foremen. Great guy, good businessman overall. But he had to have all these foremen running these different divisions of his company, and they were reporting back to him. And it's really back to where we first started. Like, Cy figured out he's got to get his boots muddy again, right? And so these guys did too, but it was too late. They'd hemorrhaged. And and you guys probably know this, but one of the biggest mistakes you guys make is estimations.
100%. And we only have 2 areas that we screw up in. You have estimation or production. I just went through that this year.
Yeah. And it's 2 like simple things. Like, those are the 2 things you've got to keep your thumb on at all time. It doesn't happen. And so plumbing, concrete's terrible about it. Any kind of underwater utilities, because around here and in other places in the country, you don't have any idea. You're going to get into rock, and you're going to sit there and hammer and hammer and hammer.
And the spec here in Northwest Arkansas is nothing like our neighboring states by any.
No, you can drive 40 miles.
Yeah,
it's like digging in sand.
And
this is
and the spec is wild, wild west out there. You know what I mean? And,
yeah. But understanding the customer's needs, I think, is such a critical part of
100%.
it. And then what's even better is when they actually have their stuff together.
Yep.
And, they come and say, I know what I want. This is why I want it. This is why I want it. And it's an easy transaction.
Yep.
Because they know what they're buying.
Mm-hmm.
And when was the last time somebody called and asked me what a axle ratio was on a truck? It's been like 6 or 8 months. That would be one of your biggest questions if you're towing, right?
It took me years to figure it out.
But you don't understand. Well, I just went and bought a 550. Well, what rear end does it have in it?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter or not. If it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. But overall, that's the thing that we specialize in. And
I've bought several diesels that I still own, still run today, put over 100,000 miles on them. I mean, but you're right. Going back to what you first initially started the show with, you start off with much better product. And where I'm going with that is you've also just mentioned that, you kind of figure it out, guys. I've been telling you all the time is, education's expensive, but experience is priceless. And I have figured out, looking on my profit and loss and my balance sheet, and here I get to the maintenance section of my P&L, and here's this truck costing me almost as much as it's worth in the year just to keep it running. And I'm like, what truck is that?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
And so then I start
250,000 miles.
I know. But you're in the world of, you're over here in the marketing. You're working with your sales team. You're over here and you're all busy. And you start looking at this stuff, and I started looking at my excavators, and we got getting some higher hours, and I'm like, this is only 3 or 4 old gear, But on the truck side of things, I'm starting to figure out, I've told you about a year or two ago, I'm like, I'm going to phase the diesels out. Now that I got a semi, does pretty much all my pulling in the low boy regard, I want 6.0s. And I bought a couple of 6.0s off the last.
Super.
Oh my God, dude.
When he says 6.0s, he's talking about Chevy gas engines. And I've got 25 years experience with those things. Probably at the end of the day, overall, my favorite motor. They just go and go and go.
And they'll pull a little bit.
They will. They've got some torque, and you can tune them to even run better. But as far as dependability, it's there. The transmissions behind some of those weren't great, but they're not terrible, and they're not junk by any means. The rear ends are good. The frames are good. I would, stick with an 11 and up, but they changed their frame in 11, and it's a lot stronger than before that. But you can expect with good maintenance, 300,000 and 400,000 is definitely obtainable out of those trucks.
Got a couple trucks that I'm going to push to the limit.
And they'll go. And then when they are done, you're just like, hey, we need a good spare, park it behind the shop. And, it's got a little life in it, but we need...
Chop truck.
And that's the thing. I just got off the phone with a plumbing company that buys a lot from me. And a truck I sold them 4 years ago, I had a CP4 pump failure. And it's a 6.7 Power Stroke, and it's a $9,000 job. And it's not only $9,000, but it's down for, now they're down. And then on the little bit of weather we had, I guess we're in Fayetteville and wrecked one of them. They're down 2 trucks now. And was trying to poke a check through the phone, like trying to buy something like right now. And I said, look, you're a great customer. Just come by and get a truck.
That's right.
We'll figure it out later. And I've done that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was going to jump in. I can't tell you the amount of times I've called you over the years, and that's the service after the sale. Yeah. Hey, I'm not trying to hurt you in any way.
Right.
But downtime is the number one expense for any excavation and utility contractor, whether it's a machine, whether it's guys in a truck. In that tool regard, if your people ain't going to the job, they ain't even going. You're backing up on your schedule. You can't take more.
It's catastrophic.
It's terrible.
And don't put yourself in that situation.
Yeah.
And you've been in that situation.
As I was going,
and I would say I could pick 10 customers of mine, and 9 of them have done the same thing. And if we're talking about mistakes to kind of head off,
that's right.
That's one of them. If you don't need a diesel, don't buy a diesel.
Don't. It's the maintenance, guys. Like,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, the purchase price, yes, if you're not pulling a Mini X skid steer every single day.
Do not do it.
I wouldn't either. I would not. And just from the maintenance side of it and just trying to keep it on the road, because that sucker's going to go down right when you don't need it to.
Yeah.
So, question, if you're saying recommend a guy sitting there, been sitting in an excavator for 10 years, he's got a Mini X, maybe sitting at home in a trailer, but he drives a car every day, and he really needs to go buy his first truck. It's not a big Mini X, say a little 35 or a 27 or something like that.
It's a 6,500-pound machine.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
you got
you're thinking a
9,000
6.0
pounds
truck.
It'd be great. The first question is, where are you going with this truck?
Mm-hmm.
And so if we're I live in Torrey Hoyt, Indiana. Okay, well, it's flat, or I live in Kansas or whatever. There's no terrain. You don't have to deal with, I'm a local guy. Okay. Wait, what do you do in work? Bella Vista, Fayetteville. Okay, well, you're in hills and corners and curves all day, and does this trailer and Mini X stay hooked to this truck?
That's right.
So I sold one to a plumbing company. They dig yard lines with this guy digs all the yard lines. It's hooked all the time.
You bet.
Okay, that's a different situation. Twice a week, I got to move a Mini X from one job to the other, or a skid steer, and I'm a construction guy, or I'm whatever. I'm going to dang near insist that you buy a gas 3/4-ton truck.
100%.
And there's people out there going, "You're crazy, blah, blah, blah." No, I'm not.
No.
And this is why. Because before you can buy the truck, I had to buy the truck.
That's
Okay?
right.
And I've got to make it ready for you. So what I have that you don't have, unless you have a massive fleet for years and years and years, I have data. I have data on how much it cost me to get a Dodge ready, how much it cost me to get a Ford ready, how much it cost me to get a Chevy ready, gas, diesel.
That's right.
And so I know, don't buy that truck. And the bad part about it is, guys, bad part. Do I stay away from F-250s? No, that's a real broad brush, right? Okay, which F-250s don't I want?
That's right.
Because if you say, well, I just need to go buy an F-250, I found a real cheap '08 on...
Oh,
yeah.
heebie-jeebies there, buddy.
Yeah. So what I can tell you is it may be the best truck ever, but historically, it's not.
No, sir.
And
was that the twin turbo 6.4?
that was the...
Oh, my God.
Or its gas engine was a 5.4.
Oh, the Triton.
The Triton
That's
5.4
right.
that had 240 horsepower that couldn't get out of its own way. Is it a 250? Yes. But, and I encourage everybody, seriously, my heart is to help. So I don't care if you're in Massachusetts, wherever you're at, if you need some guidance, reach out to me.
IntegrityAutomotive.com, correct?
Integrity Automotive, NWA.com. It's got to add the NWA. Apparently, there's a bunch of Integrity Automotives out there. So ours is NWA, or just go to integrityworktrucks.com. Takes you to the same place.
Okay.
But I'm not here to pitch that. I'm just saying, seriously, if you need my advice for whatever reason, reach out. I'm happy to help you wherever it's at. At the end of the day, I'm trying to help these people because I am one of these people, and I know exactly. I know a lot about what you're going to get into. I don't know everything, but I'm just saying, on a truck, it would be good to hear my advice on something. Probably.
No, I'm 9 years of testament of that, dude.
And that's just all I do. So if you need a Camry, I can't help you. If you need a Yukon for your wife, I can find one for you. But that's not what I do. Matter of fact, right now I've got about 60 trucks in stock, 50, 60 trucks. One of them is silver. That's it. I mean, all of them they're just work trucks, and it's not a big deal. It's just, I think that it fills a gap in
major gap
in what we need, and going to your local Chevy store. I think whether you end up buying a truck from me or not, probably not. You're all over the world. I understand, but I think it's important to depart at least some information on you. Find somebody that knows what the heck they're doing.
Yeah.
If you pull on like McClarty's lot, and I'm not bashing anybody, but I'm just saying, get out. This guy walks up to you. I'm looking for a used work truck or a new work truck or whatever.
Not the best place
That's
to
not
start.
probably going to work out too well for you unless you already know exactly what you want.
That's right.
You know? And then talking about new and used, I don't know. It's
That's a financing game.
It is. It really is. It depends on what you expect out of the return. I can tell you this, especially since 22, I would say before you do make that decision, don't listen to me, don't listen to anybody. Just get in your own vehicle, drive up to the local, whatever, Chevy, Dodge, whatever. Drive right through the front of the dealership. You're going to see a bunch of cars parked up front. You're going to see a sales office. Behind all of it is a sheet metal building, and it's going to be the service department. And I want you to look and see how many 24s and 23s are sitting there.
That's right.
And so from my standpoint, I'm taking a higher miles recent trucks. So we're selling 22s are coming off lease right now. So these are 22 models, 70, 120,000 mile trucks. COVID was brutal. So when that truck hit the ground, the guy that is in the truck couldn't even fly anywhere. So they have to drive everywhere they're going. So they hung 50,000 miles a year on the thing. But the engine hours, that's another thing you don't consider. You do, because you look at equipment all day.
That's right.
But most
the
people,
plumber wouldn't.
Very
The
few people
HVAC
say,
guy
how many
wouldn't.
hours on this
Yeah, that's
thing?
right.
It's 80,000 miles, but it could have 17,000 hours on it. Or it could have 2,500 hours.
That's right.
So there's a big difference in equipment like that, and consider it equipment. Why? Well, because its job has been, when it's not running down the highway, it's sitting idling.
That's right.
So things like this need to be taken into consideration. So, reach out to me and I'll let you know what to look for on whatever year model. I was going to try to say, don't stay away from this year model. No, just let me know what you guys are looking at, and I'll tell you, hey, these are the risks with that unit. Because there's not one that's perfect.
No, there's not. You got to take, are you going to deal with turbos? Are you going to deal with transmissions? Are you going to deal with rear ends? Are you going to deal with
electrical issues? How many AC compressors am I going to put on this thing? Will I hold the water pump for more than a year?
That's right.
How the upper ball joints in these, because I get them ready every day, all day, then I can answer those questions.
That's right.
And so more than the McClarty salesman could or whatever. The McClarty salesman doesn't really even know where they're parked. He's got to figure out where they're at. And I'm not saying if you're buying a Tahoe or something for your wife, okay. But if it's a work truck, just like every other tool that you use in your industry, whatever it is, you consult somebody before you spend that kind of money. I mean, if it's a lasering setup or whatever, you're going to talk to whoever.
Research. I'm going to look and see if there's a podcast, who's talking about what, find, an expert, see what their opinions are. Yes, there's maybe some negatives, but let's hear about it from somebody that's done it a few times.
Thanks to you for bringing this subject to these people, because there is nothing that we haven't talked about today, or we have talked about today, that they don't need to know.
That's,
I mean, this information is really critical. The vehicle side of your business, and I don't care what it is really, really important.
Especially for the one man starting out. The truck is everything.
And see, when you started, and it hadn't been a long time ago,
right? 2016.
I can't remember how much that truck was. It was a sub 100,000 mile.
27,147.
Truck could be 47,000. And that's a diesel. You can't even get a 6-speed. That's a base truck. Had 70,000 miles on it. Yeah, it's in the mid 40s, man.
Oh my Lord! And I hadn't bought I ain't bought nothing. I've done a little bit of rental here and there for when I need them, but I've been trying to be a lot smarter as I've learned things over the year. I used to be calling Rusty every 6 months, every 3 months. Hey, man, we're going to try this off, do this, and move this around because I've got this and maybe. And I'm like, now I'm like, just take a breath.
Yeah, take a breath.
It's all going to be okay.
Yeah. And another thing that you've done, which has significantly improved yourself, is you've found the right tool for the right job. And what I mean by that is you've got gas Chevys doing gas Chevy work. They're not asking them to do stuff they can't do because you've got enough trucks in your fleet that you got 550s, you've got big trucks to move stuff, and you don't have to be so, well, the only way we can get that excavator to that job is that truck.
No, that's how it was.
Yeah, I know it. And that's a lot of people when they start.
Yeah,
that's where it is. But I think the unique thing that I bring to it is I know what they're going to look like in 5 years. I sat there and told you exactly, and I remember the look in your eyes like, this guy's crazy. And I'm like,
I think half the audience would probably agree.
You're gonna need this truck, and then about 18 months from now, you're gonna need one of these because you're gonna be putting a guy on the road because this.
I'll be real with you. Do you know how many people tell me I'm crazy for doing this podcast right here?
You know how many people have told me you're crazy for doing this podcast?
Yeah.
And where am I at?
Yeah.
I believe in this, and the reason why
I believe in them guys.
I know these people are my customers. Man.
That's right.
These people come and see me every day. I deal with them every day. So to tell me the need isn't there, that's deaf ears, man. There's all kinds of people that are out there that are in a situation right now that they need to know something about trucks, or they need to know whatever other things that you guys are talking about. But nobody else is doing that.
No, and
I'm sure there was somebody.
Oh, there's some good podcasts out there. I've been invited to a few here as of late, but the real and the rawness and the, hey, let's discuss failures and inadequacies. No, I don't think there's another guy out there that's willing to be vulnerable enough to put himself out there. And I haven't tried to sit here and go, oh, look what I've done, and oh, this is how but no, I am trying to help folks in my own way in this investment through all the digital marketing space, whether it be our YouTube channel at SciCon or, bluecollarbusinesspodcast.com. I went looking for this stuff. That's why I'm doing it.
Yeah,
and I
because you couldn't find it.
Failed trying to find it. And it's not like I just flipped a switch or nothing. Every single time I come to this table, go ahead.
Yeah.
Every time I come to this table, I learn. It's a school. And if I can add value to the blue collar men and women that are trying to go come and see you and buy that first truck, to hopefully be an HVAC company in 10 years, holding 30, 40, 50, 60, 80 employees.
Right.
Like, I never thought when I was sitting across from the table I would be who I am today and what I'm doing.
Why would you?
Exactly.
None of us do. None of this was even. The way SciCon's taken off. It's incredible.
Thank you.
It's incredible. You've done a fabulous job. Don't let anybody tell you any different, right? But the biggest thing that you're doing is, you're moving dirt, making money doing that, okay? But the families, the families, the families that you touch, that you support, I don't know. For me, it makes me feel good. It makes 100%. Me feel good to do that. We talked about the veterans and felons thing, and that's important to me. That's not the purpose of my business, but
some of your business is allowing to help along the way.
Like if we're doing this effort forward, can we use the energy from that to improve other things, or are we just focused on ourselves? You're not going to make
the almighty dollar. You can't.
Well, some people do.
That's
George
right.
Soros is the world. Yeah. I'm saying there are people out there that do that very thing. I'm the most self-centered person in the world, and I screw everybody else, and I'm going to, and you're like, how in the world are they the CEO of this, or own all this, or have all this money, or whatever? It's not all about money either. You're starting to learn that, but it's it's about helping people. I think so. I think so, and I'm going to stick to it. And I'm old enough
The
that
fulfillment I get.
I can do that. I can stick to it now. However, if I just, and this last year has been pretty rough.
Brutal, brother.
I mean, it's been rough. I don't mind sharing that.
Yeah.
It has been rough. Reason why is I could have been a lot less rough. It could have gone a lot better. Talk about 24. If I would have wavered. And my first lesson I learned is during COVID. I had 93 units on the ground. I had, it was $2.6 million worth of inventory, and they started closing all the businesses. Meantime, I've never seen rapid depreciation like this. So my trucks that I barely just got on the ground that I had, let's say 30 grand in, are now worth 18. And there was a big panic and everybody was selling everything. And I said, no, you know why? This is my customer.
That's right.
They have to go back to work.
We work every
They have
single
a
day.
family to support.
That's right.
They have to do it. I don't care if it's raining, it's COVID, doesn't matter. They have to go. And
Essential.
yeah. And so I worked straight through it.
Me and you both.
And so when the summer, when it was really rough in March, April, scary, I had, everybody like, oh my gosh, what are you going to do? Blah, 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 blah. And I said, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do.
I didn't either.
But I went from selling 35, 40 trucks a month. Like, I'm not a huge dealership, right? We're specialized.
Yeah.
And we went down to selling hardly anything. And, everybody else was closing. And I just almost just closed it, just put a sign on the door, call me if you need me, I'm at home.
Yeah.
Because nobody was coming in, the phone wasn't ringing, nothing was happening. All of a sudden, boom, it was like a switch. And May came, and all of a sudden, so everybody panicked. They went and dumped all their inventory. They lost their whole life's work. And I just sat there and looked at them for 2 months. And then I had the trucks and nobody else had them.
That's right.
But, and I sold them all, and the rest is history. Now we're in a different economy. And, it's pretty bad. Everybody's holding their money. They're making money. They're just holding on to it. And then the cost of going and borrowing money, interest rates are a big factor.
They're coming
for me
down,
because
though.
they are. But the manufacturers know it. So they have Savine rates on different. You go in and buy a new F-350, maybe you can get 4.9 money or something like that on 60 months. Could be, maybe not. But, where normally you go buy a used truck, it's 8%, something like that, maybe 9%. And so when you start cost factoring everything, then people totally miss it. It's like they're 18 years old again, and they're making vehicle purchasing decisions based on what my payment is, right? What does that matter? How
Not in the business games. But
I've got to depreciate this out.
that's right.
I've got, and that's the thing. How much depreciation can I get off of it versus how much use I can get out of it? And really they approach things, not the guys that have it with, I'm not saying all your listeners are going to,
Right.
but there's going to be some people going, I think I need to change my perspective on that. Instead of going, just pay the 9% interest. Because buy the used truck because it's going to hold your money together.
Yeah.
First of all, I mean, the depreciation on the new one is going to be catastrophic. And it just goes on.
Especially over the last couple of years. But
we can do a whole nother podcast on outfitting and stuff. But, it's an interesting business. And I think that I don't think people put the thought into buying that right truck, especially the first one, as much as they need to. Like you were one of those guys, I can pick something now, and like I shouldn't have bought a 6-speed Cummins. I mean, why did I do that for?
Yeah.
The truck's still running.
Yep.
I'm sure it is.
I see it all the time, dude.
But, it's on its 5th transmission and 17th clutch and, and so, but the thing is it's not that I can't find somebody to drive. When they go down, they're down.
They're down.
And it costs you a lot of money. And that's why I say just kind of take the path of least resistance on work trucks. And then on upfitting, that's a whole different thing. But do I buy a used truck and put a new utility body on it? Or what do I do there? Because I can't find exactly what I need. Answer is yes.
Yeah.
The answer is yes. Is it more expensive to do that than buy one on it? Yeah, kind of. But when you get one that's been through a lease pool and you're purchasing it from a new car store, it's going to have the absolute cheapest stuff on it.
100%. Just to
If that works for you, that works. But chances are it won't long term. It all works great new.
Right.
When you finally, you put 3 years of work into it and your doors are falling off your utility, well, maybe it wasn't that good of a deal, Yeah. But what we're doing for Kester, it's a plumbing company, but I sold them a really good bed. The truck's blown up. They're going to move that bed to the next truck. They don't need to start over, right?
Right.
Like, we don't even have to unload it. We're just going to put it on the other truck. So that works out.
Well, dude, it has been such a fun. We're fixing to run out of time here, guys. Don't forget about bluecollarbusinesspodcast.com. You can stream and listen from there. Don't have to have any type of subscription, but if you're listening on a subscription, guys, I really appreciate you. Drop a rating or a follow if this helped you with your first time purchase of your tool, your asset that's going to help you move people. And I got one final question for you. I ask every single buddy. Mm-hmm. What's the takeaway for that blue-collar worker who is sick and tired of being stuck in the mud? And that may be physical. You've seen me come into your shop pretty muddy before, but also mentally, emotionally. You were vulnerable there a minute ago. I'm the same way.
Yeah.
It's hard some days to just get up and do it.
I tell you, the first thing is have a mentor that you can reach out to, and I mean somebody that's going to be a mentor for you probably their whole life.
Yeah.
Their whole life, not yours. Their whole life.
Yeah.
And your goal is to not need them. And, but you need to be able to reach out to somebody and say, and it could be a friend, it could be a relative, but somebody that doesn't have really any skin in the game that can impart with you the best advice based on experience. And, some people have somebody like that, some people don't. If you don't, which honestly, I never really did.
Right.
And a similar situation like my dad, he's kind of, he's not a guy I could call up and talk about it. So anyway, I think that overall, that's the most important thing is have a mentor, a friend, somebody that knows you, that likes you, that trusts you.
Can call you on your crap.
It calls you on your crap. They'll say, no, dude, that's not, you've got yourself going down a hole that you don't even need to be around, let alone in. And that's helped me make better decisions over time because if you're like me at all, and you are, that if somebody needs your help, you just do it. And, it's just like, I got to talk myself out of this or that, or I don't need to be doing this, or if it's even, I kind of stopped buying stinking diesels. I don't even need them. Whatever it is,
Yeah.
Whether it's a maturity thing. When I say maturity, I mean
experience.
Yeah. Like a football coach. Well, there may be somebody really good, but if he doesn't have a lot of experience coaching people and bringing them up, probably not going to be the right hire.
No.
So that's the same thing with you. You need to hold yourself accountable,
dude.
That's
been my big 24 word was accountability.
Yeah. And lead by example on every aspect of your life. So you have to be that leader for everybody. And lots of times you just don't want to bear the weight, but you have to.
True.
You have to get up and do it again. You have to do it. And, you don't have to, but if you don't, you have no chance at all of being successful. There's no chance.
Mm-hmm. Man.
The only people I know that are successful by not working very hard are people like you, like podcast guys. I'm just kidding. No, I know. No, he actually works for a living. This is something that he does, but this is needed out there. You guys share it with people that might need help. If I can help you, any of you guys at all, just let me know. But hopefully through my words today, I've at least, there's something that you can grab out of this that you can go, you know, but we've had as many conversations over the last about personal stuff.
Yeah, man.
And that's the thing. You know, when I say personal, like, I don't know a lot about your business, but I could run it.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because leadership, experience, entrepreneurship, and I'd make some mistakes, but I could do it. So the tools that you gain by going through this painful process that can sometimes take 10, 15 years, the tools that you come out with the other end, well, you can do anything you freaking want to do at that point.
That's right.
You're not scared of anything. And that's really where, that's me. I just opened another business and they talked about it. And I'm like, you're crazy, dude. You're 56 years old. What are you doing? But it's another opportunity to help people.
That's right. And you're covering a gap in the market. Well,
Big gap.
Big gap, he says. Well, maybe we'll get you back on the show and talk about that once we...
It's, most of these customers are going to want to hear about that too. Yep. When I say customers, I mean your listeners.
No, 100%.
But
I know what you mean, buddy.
Yeah, I'm starting more and more, you know, helping people build out the right truck for what they need it for or whatever. Most of the time, when they're starting to build a service truck, they already know what they need.
100%.
You know, but we get down to the products. That's where, you know, there's a lot's changed in the product world. Like whether this product used to be like, it's awesome, and it's not anymore. They got sold out 3 years ago or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so that kind of stuff. What compressor should I run? What kind of crane do I need on this thing? What brand of crane should I get? Utility bodies. They all look shiny and new and they're pretty. But
there's a big difference of them.
How the doors still work. And so my other business allows me to see that stuff after 3 to 5 years of use
and abuse.
And how it's held up and stuff like that. Because again, like I said, they all look great when they're sitting there, you know, brand new.
100%.
How are they going to make it through what I'm going to put them through? Well, I can tell you those things. So it's just, you know, there's things like,
by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just call me. I guess that's it. You're
the man. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Yep.
Guys, I truly hope you found some value in Mr. Rusty's vulnerable sharing today. I really appreciate you opening up and being real with these guys because they need it.
They do need it.
They need it.
The candy coating's got to stop.
Yes.
We got to rip the Band-Aid off and say, okay, we got to cut here. Let's deal with it.
Yeah.
And that's really, you know, what I'm here for.
It's motivating.
So, yeah.
Helping folks, man. Well, I appreciate you. You guys be safe, be kind. Check out another episode. Be good. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to give it a like, share it with the fellers, check out our website to send us any questions and comments about your experience in the blue collar business. Who do you want to hear from? Send them our way and we'll do our best to answer any questions you may have. Till next time, guys.